This is my second time filming this because the first round, why didn't anybody tell me there was clavicle all the way out? Wow. We're in for another round of monthly favorites. My name is Fats. Hold on, my son's right here. Tchaikovsky. Tchai, baby. You wanna say hi to the video? Come here. Come here. Hey. This is Tchai, my co-host. Usually I sit next to the couch, so he's feeling a little neglected today since I'm sitting in this chair. The lighting isn't great because it's so gloomy in Houston, Texas. So, mwah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, co-host. The best co-host. I love you so much. Okay. Oh, did you just see all that hair? Ew. I just brushed them today too. Anyways, we are in for a month of favorites. I've got a top 5 again. Now, here's what I do want to apologize about. 3 of my favorites happen to come from series. They are involved in series, but that's on me. I did kind of focus in on series this month. I only read, I believe, 13 books in the month of April. There were some pretty big books in this month, and due to that, sorry, you can't see him. Tchai's right here. Due to the fact that I was focused on some very big books, we'll talk about that later. I feel like the books outside of these series were very lackluster. It was an oddly lackluster month, but that could have been due to the fact that I did spend a good portion of this month sick. I spent a good portion of this month kind of out of commission due to my wisdom teeth being removed, and then also deciding to eat a whole lot of dairy as a lactose intolerant person. So I don't know if this month was as lackluster as it was I was not in the best of space. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you're a mood reader, your mood affects your reading. Of course. Let's dive into these books. We've got to dive into what I've read. So, I've got my teeny tiny little notebook filled with my teeny tiny little thoughts and a lot of big emotions. Disclaimer, I sometimes forget to do this disclaimer, but we all have different opinions. We can all be right at the same time. If I talk schmack about something, or if I talk highly of something, and we have opposing opinions, share that, stand on it. You don't have to change your opinion because of my opinion. If I've read a book and it's hitting my favorites and you're like, hey, this is actually a trash book, mind your business. Sometimes a trash book comes to you at just the right time. And due to it coming to you at just the right time, it becomes a favorite. Disclaimer done. Let's jump in. The first book on this list of favorites from the month of April is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This book follows our main character who has just lost her aunt. And her aunt left her an apartment. She's staying in this apartment, she's dealing with grief, and one day she steps into the apartment and she is blasted 7 years into the past. And she encounters a man. And it is really just sparks fly from that moment. And it becomes a story of like the magic in this apartment and the magic of a relationship and people who are meant to be, and love being something that you can't avoid and that will always find you. Now. I read a book in 2023 called In 5 Years by Rebecca Yarros. That book was the exact same concept as this book, except the woman teleported 5 years into the future when she stepped into this apartment, had a situation with a man. Now, In 5 Years was awful. Oh my goodness, In 5 Years was just horrible for a book. The 7-Year Slip, though. Now, here's the thing about the 7-Year Slip. It is said in the book that love is something that just happens to you and you know immediately. So once you know that that's kind of how they're defining love and connection. You just gotta roll with that. And while I am a big fan of absolutely hating on a lot of contemporary romances, this one just had themes that were very close to home. I do think that the rep of the person who is outwardly happy but is struggling internally, and you not knowing how anybody is doing, and to enjoy every last moment you have with someone, I think that was a message that just hit me really hard, and that was a message that just sings really closely to me. And so I did cry. I shed real tears in this book when she time travels and she encounters her late aunt. Real tears came out of my eyes. The connection that you have through people, and this little slice of like, the 7-year slip, it was predictable. You could see from a mile away who the guy was. You could see 20 million miles away how this was gonna end. You could see the conflict 5 miles away. But it hit in just the right way. And I like how the ending wasn't just like some settle down ending. It really had like I'm here to discover myself, and I'm going to do that. That doesn't mean I lock myself into a house. I'm going to travel. I'm going to see the world, and I'm not going to let my life be put on hold anymore. It hit. It was cute. There was feet kicking. The spice was not too intensely spicy. I knew it was happening. Things were going on, but I didn't get descriptions of body parts and sounds, and you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. The spice wasn't like that. It was good. The 7-year slip. After that, I read the final 2 books of the Jeff Vandermeer Annihilation series. So I'm going to group these 2 together because both of them were so perfect. Oh my goodness. This was such a well put together trilogy. I had a good time from start to finish. So I've said it multiple times, but let me just give you a rundown of this, because I've been working through this series on this channel in several different vlogs. So anybody who's seen a vlog, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, but for anybody who hasn't seen the vlogs, here's what is going on. You have an Area X. Nobody knows how this Area X started. Some people think the government started it. Some people think that it was an experimentation place. Some people think the military started it. Some people think that it came out of a lab. You have an Area X with this barrier around it. In the very first book, you come in as the 12th expedition. And prior expeditions have either gone missing. Nobody's returned. They come back with cancer. They die. They come back and they don't remember who they are. They come back with no memories. They come back speaking a different language. Every expedition comes back changed. And the 12th expedition goes in, and you're a part of that. And you experience this horribly unknown place. I think that's what makes it so horrible. It's so unknown. And even as you're in this expedition, you're looking at the others around you, and you have no idea why you're here, who sent you here, why they sent you here, how much knowledge they have. And you're experiencing creatures, and you come into this spot, and that's all you get in the first book. The second book is authority, and you experience the scientific group that has been sending people in. You come into a new character's point of view, and you experience those who are involved with sending in the expeditions, as well as dealing with the information they gain from these expeditions. And the second book just shows you how much this fear and how much the unknown and this weird Area X power permeates spaces that you don't expect it to permeate. So the second book does completely change, because the first book is exciting in that you're in Area X. So it definitely starts on a peak. The second book, you're in a lab with these scientists who are dealing with Area X. So it is a very different tone, but my goodness, there are moments where there's one character that is shouting into a phone, and my goodness, my heart was like pounding experiencing this character and getting to know that character while still not knowing, because that the point of views that you're given, it is myopic in that Vandermeer doesn't let you know, because there is no knowing. There is nobody who knows. That, like, the final book, you go back into Area X and you get to know some of the pieces and catalysts and history behind this space. But again, in the myopia of the people that you see these things through, because the person you're a part of doesn't know, you don't know. And the amount of questions I have unanswered. Now, here's why this one made my favorite. Vandermeer did so many cool things with this book. There are whole sections in the third book that are repeated in another scene. The mirroring of this book was so cool. And I have no idea why it was mirrored, but I think that adds to my experience with this book. I think that sometimes it isn't satisfying that every single loose end is tied up, because that's not the intention of some things. For us to enter into an Area X that nobody knows anything about, and then in the course of a book get all the answers. I do think that sometimes that is an expectation that we have, but it isn't something that can be upkept. And Vandermeer toed that line perfectly. Now, here's what I think is crazy. This series was completed 10 years ago. Vandermeer is coming out with the fourth book to come out this November. And the blurb on Goodreads is that Vandermeer just felt like there were some questions unanswered and has been thinking about the world and wants to come back into that world. Look at the cover of this book. Look at the cover of this last book. While I know I said that it was so intentional and so well done that I didn't get answers, the fact that a fourth book is coming out, and here's the thing, I do think a lot of authors outgrow a story. I think a lot of authors outgrow a world, and I'm so interested in who Vandermeer is today and how he experienced the book 10 years ago and how he's going to come into it, and I don't know if that's going to work out. For example, the Aragon series, that newest book, Murtaugh, I do feel like Paolini outgrew that world and came back a different person, which is difficult. Vandermeer's a different person, so I have no idea what this fourth book is. I do think I want to buy the series, which is a lot for me. I don't buy books that often, so this is one that I want to be able to read the third book and look at the first book like, oh my gosh, this is another thing being mirrored. There were so many Easter eggs. I wouldn't say clues and I wouldn't say hints, because there was nothing that I got an answer to. So I couldn't be like, this hinted at this conclusion. There were just Easter eggs of motifs and images throughout that last book. And I had fun diving into like Reddit pages of people discuss. That's why I think I had so much fun with this book, because I wanted to read it with friends and talk, because Reddit the Reddit conversations on this trilogy, people were pulling out Easter eggs that I didn't even catch on to. And it's like, I want to re-sit down with these books. So I think before I read that fourth book, I might sit down with it again. I would enjoy that. They're not large books, which I do also think does a lot for this series. I had a lot of fun with it. If you want just a weird series where you have like the perfect amount of dissatisfaction, read it. Just read it. Please read it. You're gonna love it. Read it and then come back and talk to me, because what? And it's like Vandermeer the otters. That otter comes up multiple times in the book, and it's like, what? The sea creature at the end, the concept of thinking about the passage of time. I need to reread it. I loved it. I had a great time. This was such a great series. So those two, I'm gonna add those two onto my favorites, because both were just such a great experience that I had in the month of April. Now, I started a series that is so good. Now, I don't know how I came across this series. I think I was like just Googling series, or I Googled, what did I Google? Oh, no, I remember what I Googled. Me and Reddit have been close, because I Googled underhyped series that deserve the hype. And somebody on Reddit brought up the Nevernight Trilogy by Jay Kristoff. And in the month of April, I've read the first book. Today's sponsor is the guy on Reddit who put that comment down, because this is so much fun. Now, let me tell you what's it about. So, there is a girl named Mia Corvere, and she is on the revenge arc of the year. She is seeking revenge for her entire family. And the only way to do so properly is to get into the Assassin Academy school thing, right? The Red Church. The Assassin School Academy Church. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to tell you what it's about is the thing. Okay, let me just tell you like some highlights and some things that are happening in this book that I had fun with, that you'll get to experience, right? Now, first off, the tone of the narrator was perfect. It's like, here's how it felt, right? It felt like it's a rainy day, rainy, gloomy, stormy night, and I stop in a tavern. And I sit down at the bar, and I get a mug of beer. And the guy next to me is like, "You ever heard of Mia Corvere?" And I'm like, "What? Who are you? Why are you talking to me?" And then he's like, "You a traveler around these parts?" And I'm like, "Who are you? Why are you talking to me like that? Why is your voice so smoky?" And he's like, "Let me tell you a story." That's what it feels like, because he's dropping jokes. The way he's intermingling history, the narrator, it's such a fun thing. And it really feels like I'm sitting down with some drunken man I've never met before, and he's telling me a story, and it is so much fun. So, tone of voice, narrator tone, so great, so fantastic. I like Mia. Mia as a character, I enjoy her. Usually a strong FMC is annoying to me. It's very often that I read fantasy books and the FMC that I get gets on my, oh, I've got coffee. When did I make this? Oh, I got a second wind. Wow, what a treat. Okay. Mia Corveri. Now, strong, independent woman, and she was a strong, independent woman. And here's the thing. When you have somebody who's this FMC that's special, I do find I get annoyed with it. I wasn't annoyed with Mia because she's special, but she's growing into being special. She's growing into that. She doesn't know how to control it. She's learning her power. She's learning herself. She's having to deal with like past traumas in order to get with that. She's having to discover how she is special. She's not just like, I'm just perfect and I figure everything out. No, she isn't. She is powerful, but she's growing into that, and I am rooting for her. Every time she works hard to get to being powerful and being special and being strong. She works so hard for it. And I respect that arc. I respect that I got a strong, independent FMC that is going to become stronger and is focused on becoming stronger, because she's got powers. She has no idea what to do with those powers, so she's not exactly just this amazing person. She's just kind of just trying to figure it out. God, love that. The next bullet point that I have written here are the classes. So so Mia comes into this assassin academy, right? And of course there's little classes to make them the best assassins. And the classes are literally like, first you've got fighting class, which crazy. You've also got like pickpocketing class, which is so cool, so much fun. And you've got the class of the gentler arts, because you're an assassin, right? And you have to be able to get secrets, which means you have to know how to touch a shoulder. You know, you have to know how to whisper in an ear. You have to know how to take a titty out. Like the gentler arts. So and what's fun, that you have the poison class. Now, the thing that's fun about this is, in this academy, you're not allowed to just blatantly kill the others. Not everybody is going to become an assassin, and everybody has such a good reason for wanting to get there. So of course there's like competitions, and like the classes are killing people, not the assassins, the classes. Because like poison class, she like poisons everybody at breakfast, and she's like, I guess figure it out or you die. Like, and then of course there's like finals, right? And finals is fighting class, everybody's got to fight. But like, it's so fun because every class's little finals is just so off the wall. I just had so much fun. I had so much fun. And every single person is so unique and different, which was great. Every single person has a unique background, a unique drive, unique quirks. Like every character stands out. Somebody could write me actions that a character does, not even tell me the name, and I'd know which of the character it is, because they all were so different and so much a person rather than a plot point. So to get so many characters that were, and to truly, and I think that's, sorry, I'm not speaking words. So to get so many characters that were so unique and have so much pain behind them, let me just say, at the end of the book, I didn't see the ending coming. I was hurt. I was shocked. I was appalled. I was bamboozled. A singular tear. Don't talk to me about betrayal. Don't talk to me about pain. Don't talk to me about lies and cheats. Unless you're talking about Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This book was so fun. There was love, Oh my gosh, there was kissing? Now hear me out. It's been a long time since I read a sex scene written by a man. Kristoff might understand the female anatomy. Like, who would have known? And then I would do like a little, I would go back, hit a reread. I was shocked, appalled, bamboozled, unawares. I had so much fun. And that's all I have to say about that one. Read it. I'm on the second book. I'm in the middle of the second book. And there's like, it's like gladiators. What? Last favorite of the month of April. This one was recently finished. I listened to half of this on audiobook and then I read the second half of it. And that was Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. Now, I'm not going to tell you what this one's about simply because I do feel like it's so difficult to tell you what's happening in a Game of Thrones book without spoiling something. Because even the second book, just knowing where we're at to start spoils what happened in the first book. You know what I'm saying? So instead, I just want to shout out some key players. First key player, Tyrion. Tyrion maneuvering Varys, Littlefinger, and Cersei in this battle of wits. Chef's kiss. Cersei, straight to jail. Joffrey, straight to jail. Arya's story. Arya's sections did feel a little drawn out, don't get me wrong. But I do think Arya's sections were so important to show just the effects that war has. Because, just seeing how Arya is growing and the people around her are affected, Arya's sections showed what war does. Because in all these other sections, you're dealing with the people who are leading these battles, the people who are pulling the strings, and the people who are protected behind these walls. Arya's sections show what it is to be a child, a mother, in the effects of what all these strings being pulled. So great. Daenerys' sections, there were very few moments that I had with Daenerys, so I don't have much to say. To know that she's the queen of dragons and to get so little of her, I do think that it's because I'm going to get more of her later. You know what I'm saying? I've got very little of Daenerys. Daenerys' sections I liked because it helps me experience the vastness of this world. These people not hearing about what's happening, Daenerys highlights that because she doesn't even know what's going on with like Eddard and Robb, and she doesn't know what's happening on the other side. Like getting these messages, people relaying information, people not knowing what's true. I liked that that was highlighted, and it really showed me just how huge this world is and how much ground we're covering. Theon. That little ingrate. Okay? That little hob knocker. Somebody paper cut him and spray lemon juice on it. Somebody get Theon. I did write a few things like with hearts next to them. I did say that I love how I'm experiencing these characters develop. Because development isn't just this like, I become great, I become strong, I grow up, I learn lessons. People don't develop in that way, and the way that Martin shows development and growth and change and adjustment and lessons and what comes out of trauma, Martin is handling character development so well, because as they're growing, you're seeing that growth, you're seeing how they're affected, and it's not just positive. Catelyn alone is growing. That's an adult. And just see these people being affected and them taking it and it being a part of their character, so amazing. Changing their habits, so great, so well done. I also put a heart next to the fact that it's so much fun to read a book without tropes. Same for all of these books. Well, except for 7 Year Slip. All my other favorites, it's so great to read a book that doesn't have a trope. To have this tropeless writing where it's truly character driven, it's truly plot driven, and not to have the spoiler that is a trope. Tropes truly tell you, like enemies to lovers. You know what's gonna happen. There are no surprises. To experience a story that exists without the structure that is trope writing. I put it next to Martin because with Martin, I genuinely have no idea what is happening next. I turn a page. I don't know what's happening on the next page of Martin. I had to reread entire sections of this book because I told you I listened to it first. There were sections that I marked in the audiobook to go back and look at with my eyes because I had to mark names, mark characters. I literally put in my journal like a whole character map because I need to remember these names and I need to know who these people are because this world is huge. These subplots. It's great. Those are my April faves. Those are my April top 5. I hope you read some good books as well. I hope your month went well. I hope you have so many good things for your next month. And if you have any recommendations, please leave them for me in the comments. I would love a recommendation. No lie, if you give me a recommendation, it's gonna have to be written down and saved for later because I recently I became victim of my library return system, and I had to return so many books that I was so excited to read because I could not keep up with the returns. So I'm trying to go back and see what books I was excited to read and I couldn't get to. So I am a little busy when it comes to my reading list, probably up until the middle of the year. But once I get through all of those, I don't know what I'm gonna read, so I always take recommendations. I also just like the feeling of something new sometimes, so who knows? I'm a little unpredictable. I'm such a mood reader that I can't ever know what's gonna happen. I can't even run off of a TBR, to be honest. I can do what's in my house, but people who are like, these are the 10 I'm gonna read this month, girl, go off because it's not me. Thank you for sitting and joining me. Thank you for talking. Thank you for chatting. And I'll see you next time.